Hey y'all, it's Mama Ducky Talks. On this channel, we are going to be talking about a variety of different topics and just sorting our thoughts and also trying to be helpful. So today's video is going to be geared towards pregnant teens and parents of pregnant teens. You can stick around and watch even if you're not one of those. But the reason I wanted to do this video is because I was looking in my own personal life when I found about my daughter being pregnant as a teen for support for the parents. And I didn't really find a whole lot out there for the parents dealing with one of their teens being pregnant. So I thought I would compile this video to kind of let it be a guide or support to know that you're not alone. And so please let me know your thoughts and any questions you might have in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. Alrighty, so today's episode. Mom, Dad, I'm pregnant. What happens now? So, the number one thing that our teens need is for us to show our unconditional love. Even while we don't like the thing that is happening, they need to know that we still love them no matter what. And that you can be disappointed, you can be mad, you can be sad, all these things. But more than anything, they want to know that you still love them even though this happened. That is first and foremost. So make sure you let them know. Also, as parents, know that your emotions are valid, but so are theirs.
It is okay to feel.
But listen to your child, because the fact that they're even coming to you is a big deal. They were brave enough to come and tell you and sit you down and have the conversation. And that is one of the scariest conversations that a teen could ever have with their parents. Remind the child that you still love them. Like I said, they want to know that they are still unconditionally loved, even though this situation happened. Show your support. Show them that you are still here for them. Your job is to guide and support. You do not have to like or be happy about this situation to show some kind of support and that you're there and that you love them. Maybe you need to take a breather. Maybe you need to go off, take a few minutes, process what happened, get yourself together, and then go back. Still making sure that you show them that you still love them, whether it's giving them a hug, telling them, I love you. Let's come up with something. Let's figure this situation out. Because this situation is the situation, and no matter whether you're angry or whatever about it, the situation is not going to change. You have a teen that is pregnant, and they need their parents more than anything at this point. I'm not saying promote, but if it does happen, because accidents happen, be there. Take a breather so you don't say something you might regret, and go from there if you need to. Discuss. Discuss what this means. Discuss who the dad is. Discuss how it happened. And things like that. Talk to your child. Have open communication. That is healthy. As I said, it's okay to have feelings and emotions. Everybody is going to. And they're okay to have. They're valid. You get to have your thoughts and opinions and feelings. And so do they. We have to respect each other's feelings and thoughts. Because once again, the situation is not changing. Shit just got real. So anger. Anger is a big one. You are mad at the situation. You're in shock. Like, did I just hear what I think I heard? You're disappointed. How could they let this happen? You had given them the talk about protection and everything like that. You wanted them to wait. It's okay to be disappointed because this is not, as parents, what we want to see for our teens and our children at a young age. Embarrassment. Like, who wants to go around and be like, oh, hey, my teen is pregnant? But it's the situation. And some are not going to judge you. They're going to be there no matter what. Others, they're going to talk. They're going to say things. They're going to see your pregnant teen or the dad of the pregnant girl. They're going to see them together and they're going to give them looks. But explain that that's part of the territory and just ignore them. Because they're nobodies. It's okay to be embarrassed. Eventually, that will wear off. Because nobody can be embarrassed of an innocent baby. Judgmental. You are going to be judgmental. Whether it is of your own parenting, judging your child, and there's going to be judgment on you from the outsiders. It's going to happen. We have to accept it. We do not have to like it. Stressed. This is going to stress you out. Your teen has been stressed before they even came to you. But the stress does decrease, I promise. Sadness. You're going to be sad. Kind of goes with the disappointment. You're sad because why does your child's life now have to be so much harder than it already was? Sadness about thinking maybe your teen's future is gone, but it doesn't have to be. It's okay to be sad. Distancing. You might want to distance yourself, flee, get away from the situation, not have anything to do with the situation. But whether or not you like it, that is your child, and you are legally responsible for it. Fleeing is not the answer. Taking a breather you can do, but just acting like this doesn't exist, not okay. Let's talk about another valid emotion that you are probably going to have. Parent guilt. Dealing with the weight of parenting a pregnant teenager or a teenager who is about to have a baby. The teenagers are going to feel the guilt too. They don't like the fact that they've let you down or anybody down. They feel guilty that they've now changed their lives forever. But mom and dad, do not let guilt weigh you down and consume everything. You are going to miss out on so many things if you let that weight keep you down. And it's hard. A bunch of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Should I have done this? Could I have done more? What if I would have? And the truth of the matter is that no matter what type of parenting you've done, whether you run a straight type ship, whether you are a helicopter parent, whether you are a free range parent, which I do not recommend that one either. But no matter what, if your teen wants something bad enough, they're going to do it. They will find somewhere else if it's not your house. It could be a car, it could be under the bleachers, it could be so many different places. If they are going to do it, they will find a way. Remember when you were a teenager, your parents had rules, and you would find ways to go around those rules in hopes not to get caught. These teens are going to do the same thing. And so it can happen to anybody, no matter what type of parents you are, good or bad. It is a situation that any parent could possibly find themselves in. But it's going to be okay. It might not be tonight, tomorrow, the next day, but everything is going to be okay. And enjoy these little moments, because it's a new chapter. You as biological grandparents and more. But a baby is coming, whether we like the situation or not. And there's nothing we can do to change that. So, be supportive, be loving. Know that you're not a bad parent just because this happened. Your child is not a bad kid just because this happened. Focus on the positive. Find those little silver linings, because it will be very important and crucial in getting through this. Now that we all know that our teen is pregnant or got somebody pregnant, and we've dealt with some of those emotions, we need to discuss options. Whether you think your teenager knows all the options or not, this is the time where it's real, so we need to go through those options. Whether you have this conversation in the same conversation or you have it the next day or something, it needs to happen fairly soon so that decisions can be made, because some are on a short time limit. Others, you have the entire pregnancy to figure out. But there are some important things that we have to talk about. First, the teen raising the baby. Is the teen going to raise this baby with or without the dad? Or is the mom going to let the dad raise the baby and she's not going to have really anything to do with it? They are going to be financially responsible for it. They are going to be the one putting in all the hard work, because you're not raising another baby. That is one of the options. Another option is the family or someone in the family raises the baby. Do you, as the grandparents, raise the baby as your own? And the teen, even though they are biological parents, they're going to play the role of a sibling or an aunt or something. And the grandparents are going to raise it, or the grandparents. Who's going to raise it? Then we have open and closed adoption. Open adoption is where you still get to be in the child's life, even though you are putting them with another family to raise the baby. You do not get to play mom and dad, but the baby's going to know who you are, and you're going to play some role. Closed adoption is the complete opposite. You still give the baby to another family, and it's no communication pretty much after that. And if you and your biological child reunite one day, that's great too. But maybe if you're giving it away because you know it's not right for you in this time in your life, you're being selfless. It's an amazing thing to do, to give a family a child that maybe can't have a child of their own. It's selfless. But it can be hard. So maybe you don't want to hold the baby. Maybe you don't want to look at the baby. You just want to give it away because you know if you hold it, you're possibly going to change your mind. Adoption is a conversation that can go on throughout the entire pregnancy. But what is right for the mother and the baby? And last, but certainly not least, abortion. Now, there are laws all over about abortion. Some places allow it, some places don't. Some say you can, but only until this point. So this is the one that is on a timer. Where I live, you have 6 weeks. That's it. And depending on when you found out is the timer that you have. So if you find out at 4 weeks, you have 2 weeks to make a decision. If you figure it out after 6 weeks, where I'm at, that's not even an option for you. Other states and places may have a longer period or just allow it at any point. It is a serious conversation. This needs to be the mother's choice. What is best for her and the baby? Now that we have gone over the options that are available for teen pregnancy, let's go in depth on some of these. So we have teen raises the baby. One of the things that's going to be really important is schooling. Schooling does not have to fall to the wayside. Maybe back in the day it was harder. You'd get sent away for a few months and you'd come back and everybody still knew what was happening. But there are so many options nowadays. So many schools have a program built in that allows pregnant teens to go to a school that, while they're pregnant, but also even after the baby's born, that they have like childcare, they can take them to school with them so that they can still get their education. There are also homeschooling options. You can do it yourself, or you can find an online program that lets them go at the pace that they were originally going to graduate. Or there's online programs to get your diploma at an accelerated rate. Do you want your child, and does the teen parents want to be done with schooling before the baby's here? Now, depending on how young the teen is, that might be a lot of schooling, but it is possible. There are so many options so that education does not fall flat. Maybe it's not the route that you wanted for them or they wanted for themselves, but this is the route that needs to be taken for reality. So education needs to happen. You need that high school diploma so that you can ensure a job and finances. Now, if they're going to school, are they going to go to school and work to make money? What's the realistic expectation of the amount of hours they can work and go to school while they're a pregnant teen? Or if they finish their schooling, they can just focus on working until the baby's there. Or once the baby is here, they can go to work and they don't have to they can do work full time and they don't have to worry about at least high school. They can still continue college courses and finding a job. This is going to be really important if they are going to raise the baby themselves. Is your child even old enough to get a job? Or what jobs are even available for your teen at whatever age they are? How much money can they make realistically? Very important topics to discuss if the teen plans on raising the baby. Living arrangements. When the baby gets here, is it going to live with the mom? Is it going to go live with the dad? Are the teens going to live together now with the baby at either one of the two houses? Or are they old enough teen-wise that they can get their own place with them and the baby if they're still together? That's a big if, because it doesn't always work out that way. That's why we have relationship realities next. They need to understand that the probability of this teen mom and teen dad to be, the likelihood that they will stay together is slim to none. Yes, there are exceptions. But because teens are not fully developed in their frontal cortex, this is a very hard thing. Maturity levels. Usually the girl is more mature than the boy. They are going to possibly fight. This is definitely not a thing that brings teens closer together if they're having a baby. You find out real quickly things that you didn't know about the person that you might be with that you didn't like. But hey, maybe they do step up and the other is an amazing parent, and they're amazing to you still. Or they can just be amazing and they're going to be there for their kid, but they don't necessarily want to be with you. Those are all okay, and you can do those in healthy ways. But the realities need to be talked about. Not pushing realities, not aiming towards any of these things, just talks of these are things that could possibly happen. And for a mother, one of the things she should consider is if the dad is not going to be involved, do you still want this baby to take care of on your own? Because statistically, boys walk out on their kids more often than females. There are females that have done it too, but a lot of times it is the male. So discuss those realities. It's important in their decision making. Realistic pregnancy and baby expectations. This is what happens during a pregnancy. It's not sunshine and rainbows. Yes, there are good parts and there's things to look forward to, but it is hard. The baby is going to cry. The baby is going to want this. All your wants and needs and maybe champagne taste on a beer budget is going to have to not be a thing anymore. Because baby's needs come first. They get to rule the household for a little bit. You know, pregnancy, you're going to have to take prenatals. You're going to have to go to these appointments. There are symptoms that go the whole time. If you're lucky, maybe you have no pregnancy symptoms other than the fact that you are pregnant. You don't have the morning sickness and things like that. Sometimes, and hopefully you only get it for the first trimester if you do get the symptoms. But some can have it their entire pregnancy. I've had it both ways with my kids. Things are going to be different. You are going to feel different. Your hormones are going to be different. And they're going to make you moodier than you already are, most likely. That's why the relationship thing is important, because maybe the guy doesn't want to put up with a hormonal pregnant person, even though he's partly responsible for it. Baby needs attention. Baby has needs. It's going to need to be on a schedule. It's not going to be about what you want. You are running on the baby's clock right now. So discuss these realistic pregnant and baby expectations with your teen. Because maybe there's some things that they didn't think about or they didn't know and realize. And this is a discussion that needs to happen throughout the pregnancy. Because teen raising the baby can change later down the line. There's 9 months, and a lot can happen in 9 months. Next discussion in depth is family raises baby. You need to discuss who has what responsibilities and duties. Who's going to be responsible for getting up in the middle of the night? Who's going to be responsible for baths and bedtime routines and feeding? Who's going to be responsible for buying formula and diapers and things like that? Who's going to change them? Come up with a plan. If it is going to be a shared family experience and the family just raises the baby together, or if the grandparents of the baby are going to do everything. Mom will help, but biological mom will help, but grandparents are going to be responsible for these things. So clearly discussing what roles and duties everybody can have so that there's not conflict later about who does what. And do it what works best for your family and the baby. This is a discussion that throughout the pregnancy can happen. And then by the time it's time to go into labor, you have a clear idea of who's responsible for what, who's going to be doing what, so that there isn't any confusion and resentment and fighting that's unnecessary. Who will be mom and dad? Will it be the grandparents? Will it be the teens? that are biologically the parents, who is going to be the mom and dad of the baby. The baby has to have a mom and dad. It's just a matter of who or how people are going to be known as. And do what's best for y'all. Doesn't have to be complicated, but do what's best. But clear boundaries. Maybe put it in a verbal or a written agreement so that if for some reason somebody that agreed to, let's say your teen agreed to take on these responsibilities and duties and everything, put it in writing, I would say. You can do verbal, but I'd put it in writing. So that if for some reason, if the teen is wanting to just be a teen and not a mom, or wants to be a teen and not a dad, there is something in place that you can say, hey, we tried it like this, they are not stepping up, and this is what is in the best interest of the child. But come to an agreement together, something that will work, and hopefully with support and help and love, this doesn't become a problem. It can be, but let's do things to try to decrease later fights and toxic environments. Start now. This is not the time for control tactics. If you don't do this, then I'm kicking you out of the house. If you don't do that, or if this person does it, this is not the time for those control tactics. Yes, you are still the teen who is pregnant or got somebody's pregnant parents. So you still get to basically still be responsible for them. But this does not need to be something that you hang over their head, or they're worried that if they don't act perfect or do what you want, that they're going to be homeless and pregnant. They're going to be without a car and pregnant, not able to have finances or go to a job. This is not the time for control tactics. I know it might seem like you want to try to control things now because maybe if you were more controlling previously, this situation wouldn't be here. Do not use this baby as leverage. Communicate, have honest conversations, and I promise that everything is going to be okay. It will work out. This is a time where you can actually get closer to your teen than you ever did. And they will start to see reasons behind why you had rules, why you did this, why you did that. This is where they understand, and a little bit of karma might come in. You'd be like, yeah, remember all those times? This is what you get. So you can turn it into little things. But don't control. But this also does not mean that your teen is fully grown either. They still need that. And you are still their parent. They get to be the parent of their kid. You are the parent of them. And parenting does not stop, no matter what the age is. And how long is this family raising the baby arrangement going to last? Is it till the teen parents graduate high school, graduate college? Is it until they turn 18? Till they're 21? How long is this arrangement? Is it for however long it needs to be? Put something in place so that when it is that time, then everybody knows what's expected and what is coming. So these are some things that you can do to avoid conflicts later down the line, or at least lessen them. And family raising a baby together with the teen parents is amazing. It's a well done job by parents, because your kid knows that you love them, you're there for them, and we're all in this together. Decide what is best for your family and the new baby on the way. On to our third discussion option, in-depth, open and closed adoption. This is something that can be discussed throughout the pregnancy. Discussed, not forced. And adoption is a wonderful thing. It can be. There are some downsides to it as well, but here are things that you need to discuss when going over the possibility of adopting the baby out. First, do they want to be a part of the baby's life without being the parents? Can the teens that are pregnant actually go through with knowing that their child is with somebody else and they call somebody else mom and dad? Can they do that? Can they go through with being a part of baby's life in an open adoption, but still not being known as the parents? It's very tough. It's a hard decision. It is a selfless decision. It is doing best by your baby and not necessarily what's best for you. People that choose adoption and people that do adopt, for the most part, are amazing humans. Explain the good and the bad. The good being you get to continue a normal life as a teenager and still go through life doing things that are age appropriate and on the track that you were. Also, you get to give a gift to somebody that can't have children, maybe, but they are supposed to be parents and they are going to be the best parents out there. Those are good things. Helping a family in need, a family that's better off financially and has more stability in their life, who are ready for this and have been ready and have just been longing for the right fit for them. The bad is that sometimes you don't know bad things that happen after adoption. Hopefully, and majority of the time, bad things aren't happening. It is going to be tough. It can be depression. It can lead to a bunch of doubt whether you did the right thing or not. This is why this is a discussion that needs to happen throughout, because up to the labor, you can still decide to do that. You can still decide adoption. You can also not choose adoption. this is a tough one, and it needs to be decided. You know, talk to the teen dad, talk to the teen mom, discuss about the baby. Meet with the adoption agent. Go over, we are thinking about putting our baby up for adoption, and these are our feelings right now. This is kind of what we're thinking we want to do. Whether you want the adoption agency to just find the family for you, whether you want to find and choose the family for your baby, whether you want it to be open to where you would like to be in the child's life as something, whether it's a friend, an aunt, something like that, or just known as biomom, but you're not mom and dad. Or do you just want to hand the baby over and that's it? You don't want to hold it, you don't want to see it, you don't even maybe want to name it. Because if you do those things, you know that you will possibly change your mind. And so if you're very strong towards adoption, doing those things might be what works best for the teen parents. It's about what is best for everybody. Have these discussions. Lay out what you want or what you think the plan is with an adoption agent. And they can help guide you through the process. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to open and closed adoption. Do not, I repeat, do not force this. If you force your child, your teen that is pregnant, or the dad of the teen, you want to push them for adoption because you don't want this baby yourself, you don't want this situation, it is not your choice. I know, it's hard to hear. It isn't your choice. This is the parents of the baby's choice. And if you force them to do something that they don't want to do or they don't believe in or cannot live with themselves if they do it, you are doing a disservice to you and your family because it will create problems if you force and you push. Discussions are different, but do not say, well, you're going to give it up because maybe you don't believe in ending a baby's life. So you're going to let them go through with it, but you're saying you cannot keep your child. Since it is not your child, you do not get to choose whether it is kept or not. Only the parents can. Guidance and support and talking is very, very important. Don't oust somebody. Again, do not do controlling tactics. And check in on this topic ever so often. Because they're going to have hard days where they maybe don't want this, or maybe it's just they don't want it right now or want to deal with this situation. But it's not enough for them to want to fully go through with giving the baby up for adoption. So talking is so important. Open lines of communication. Last and certainly not least, abortion, the polarizing topic. A topic that will and can, not will, it can destroy families and friends and many other things, because this is a topic that everyone pretty much has strong feelings about, one way or the other. Most people know where they stand on this issue. But what's right for you is not necessarily right for somebody else. So, first, do not force this. Do not make your child abort their baby. It is not your decision. And there will be huge blowback if you do this or if you try to do this. This might be the thing where you do lose your teen. And that y'all's relationship is changed forever. You are still their parents, but this is not your decision. You do not have to live with this decision for the rest of your life. This is not going to affect your mental health like it will your teens. Their body, their choice. Now, our choices have rules here in the United States and many other countries. You need to check the laws in your area. Not every place allows abortion. Some only allow it in a certain time frame. It's just a matter of finding out what are the laws in your area, because you want to do this legally, because that's a whole bunch of mess. And it does come down to beliefs and things that you think, but your beliefs may not be your child's beliefs. Y'all may agree on some parts and not agree on other parts. Check the laws so you know what timeline are you on, because this is usually where the timeline comes in. As I stated before, 6 weeks. You have to do it by 6 weeks where I live. It's crazy to me. And some insurance companies don't allow you to even have your first prenatal appointment until you are 6 weeks along. Like, what? So that means that your teen cannot go meet with an OBGYN to maybe talk about this with professionals in a medical setting to go along with the family and your own thoughts, but to talk to somebody who knows these things. That would be another form of support or education. You don't get to talk to them about it first. You have to make the decision. And okay, I get it. If you have decided to abort, then you don't need a prenatal appointment because you're not going to keep it. But I still think that medical professionals are needed in this, and I hope one day the insurance companies will change it or go back to the way it was previously. 6 weeks is short too, because depending on when you find out when you're pregnant. Some people don't find out till they're after 6 weeks, and then you don't even have a choice. You have to carry it. Some find out and maybe have a week or 2 weeks to decide. And that's a really tough, life-changing decision that you have to make in such a short amount of time. It's one of the reasons we say kids shouldn't be having kids. These are decisions that are for adults. But our teens decided they wanted to do grown folk things. And they should stay out of grown folk business, because this is not meant for children, because they are not mentally developed, emotionally developed to deal with this kind of stuff in such a short time. It is stressful. And it's polarizing. And what if she makes the right decision for her, but, the parents are not going to be okay with it. They're going to kick me out. They're going to do this. They're going to do all these things. It is a big, big decision for somebody so young. And so that it's really hard, especially for kids. But this is where you can support, guide, and educate your teen about this option, discussing it. Remember that this is the teen mom's choice. The baby is growing in the mom's body. Mom's body, mom's choice. It stinks for dads who want the baby and the mom doesn't. It stinks for there's families who would raise it and be okay with it, and if the mom's not. But this is a choice that the mom has to make. They can take input from the teen dad, but at the end of the day, it is the mother's choice. Also, risks and realities. Go over the risks. The bad risks and good. Do not feed half the facts and say, oh, you get your life back. You get this, you get that, and all these things. Don't just push those things and, or God doesn't like this or whatever. Do not do those things. Discuss the risks. Discuss what they are worried about or where they're struggling. Maybe this is the only time that your child, your teen, is going to be able to have a kid. Maybe they go through with this and then later down the line something went wrong during something or scar tissuing, and now when they actually are ready to have a kid, maybe they can't because of the abortion that they previously had. That has been known to happen. But there are also many people that have had them and go on to have pregnancies, and they're great and everything is wonderful. But they need to know the risks. You cannot have them go into this and then when they get there, they're like, why didn't anybody tell me about this? I can't go through with it because of this. Nobody told me about this. I'm not doing that. Or that would have been nice to know. And they go through with it. Very, very, very important. Maybe you agree to an extent that abortion is okay. Maybe you don't. Maybe at what point during pregnancies. But it is the mom's choice at the end of the day, and they need to be fully educated. Also, is this a hush thing, or is this an open topic afterwards? If the teen mom has an abortion, then they can decide whether they want anybody to know or they want no one to know. And if they don't want anybody to know, it needs to be quiet. If that is a secret that they want to handle with, or maybe for the time being, they'll talk about it when they are ready, or maybe they're open to talk about it. But it needs to be discussed. This also does not need to be a control tactic. Now that we have gone over all of our discussion options for the possibilities of the future of the teen parents and the baby that is in this situation, now, what is next? What comes after this decision? If they've decided to keep the baby, well, prenatal vitamins is going to be an important one for your teen mom so that it's getting nutrition. Maybe have a dual family sit down where the teen mom and her parents and the teen dad and his parents all sit down together as one and have a discussion on things so that everybody can get out their thoughts, they can talk about it, and everybody can get on the same page on where you are at in your steps along this progression of things. Expectations, what is everybody willing to do, not willing to do, everything like that. Come together as a family. And you may not like them. I know dads may not want to have anything to do with the boy that did this to their daughter. But the boy didn't do this to your daughter. They made the decision together. Maybe not great decisions. Maybe multiple bad decisions led to this situation. But it is the situation. And most of the time, your daughter knew exactly what she was doing when she did it. They did not do this to themselves. The girl did not do this to your sons. I have a boy and a girl. And I try to look at it from both points of view. Well, it was my daughter in the situation when I am dealing with the dad of the baby and his family. I try to look at it as, okay, if this was my son in this situation instead of my daughter, how would I handle this? How would I want the teen mom and the parents of the teen mom to handle it with my son? So I try to look at it very open-mindedly so that I am not just one track. Sit down and have an honest conversation. You don't have to be, you can be stern, you can voice your opinions about the situation, but do not attack. That is not productive, and it's not going to do anything. It's okay to be honest and have your feelings. And it's good to let those out so everybody knows where everybody's at. I would joke to my daughter that she would be like, oh, such and such wants to congratulate me. And I'm like, but this is not a congratulations moment. Maybe your next one will be. This, not a congratulations. Not a good job, well done, you get a star. That is not what this situation is. So, it is okay to have those feelings. But be productive. Be productive with the family. And sometimes you may not like the other family. Maybe you don't like the boy. That's not who you wanted your daughter to have kids with. Maybe you're fine with the boy, but you don't like the parents or one of the parents. Those are all okay. But sadly, sometimes we are tethered with a family that we don't like. Sometimes you may get along great. And this in-law type situation is going to be fine because everybody gets along. But sometimes it's not that, and we just have to deal. And it's our choice how we deal with it. Make the appointments, whether it is a prenatal appointment, whether it is an appointment with an adoption agency, or whether it's the appointment to get rid of a baby. Make your appointments. Who else can know? Does anybody get to know? If your kid told you, great. I'm glad they told you. They actually didn't have to do that, but they did. And if the mom doesn't tell the dad, well, that's not my view that somebody should just not tell them, because I do think, in my opinion, that the teen dad does deserve to know about the situation, so they can either be there to support or whatever else. I think they do have the right to know. Does one set of the teen's parents get to know and one set not? This is sometimes about your relationship with your teens. And if they don't want anybody outside of the teens and the teens' parents to know about this situation, then nobody needs to know about this situation. Let the teens decide who they want to tell and if they are okay with it and when they're okay with it. In the beginning, they may not be, but by the end of it and when the baby's born, yeah, of course, some people are going to find out, or when they start showing. But until the showing parts, there's no rush to tell people. Sometimes you also want to wait after the first trimester to make sure that you don't have the miscarriage and the baby is going to more than likely be a full pregnancy. But those are decisions that you can make with your teen, or you can support their decision. But that's an important thing to know. Don't just go blabbing to the world. Plan of expectations for the teens. Okay, if you are going to do this, if you are going to have this baby, or you are going to do this and this and this, what are their expectations? What do they need to do in your household? What are rules? Is there less of certain rules but more of others? And it's kind of like what's the worst that could happen? Because the thing that a lot of us view as the worst that could happen has happened, and so it's not like it can happen again currently in the process. But what are their responsibilities and duties? Do they need to get a job? Do they need to get a car? Do they need to finish school? Come up with a plan so everybody knows what they're supposed to do, because again, you still are the parent of your teen. You don't get to make the decisions about the baby, but you can make decisions for your teen. Unconditional love and guidance is number one. Find those silver linings, because what good is it going to do to just go 9 months of being angry? Maybe you're going to love the baby and all that, but while you destroy your relationship through the pregnancy, maybe not the best idea. Guide them so that they can make good choices throughout this. and love them. Make sure they know. Now that we have talked about the important things of stuff that needs to happen, and maybe some things that you need to do, or maybe things that you're going to need to work on, or you just needed to hear that you're not alone in this. These discussions are important to have in these situations. And I am here for support if anybody needs it, because it's hard. There's so many things out there for the teens that are pregnant, but who do the parents talk to? Where do the parents get support and guidance? I am willing to be someone here to listen and discuss and talk through things if you need to. I want to end these Mama Ducky talks with words of encouragement or some statistics or facts or something that wraps up everything. And so I chose the quote, "Children need our unconditional love, whether they succeed or make mistakes, when life is easy and when life is tough." And Barack Obama said that. I think it's a perfect quote for what we discussed today. They do need that. And whether you like Barack Obama or not, those words, I don't think you can disagree with. I think everybody can be on the same page as that. It's hard. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but we are going to make it through. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and an innocent baby in the making. Once again, if you like this video or you want more of these types of videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you next time for a talk.